What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Trading My Funded Account. Today is number 60. It's February the 12th, 2024. We made some trades today, so let's get into it. First and foremost, let's talk about today's key levels. So we have yesterday's closing price, and that's represented right here by this purple line that goes across the middle of the chart. And that price is represented by 38,749. So let's go ahead and talk about these trades that we made today. So number one, I went long right here as prices broke back into the range, expecting for them to come all the way back up and test the top. But the only thing was, it's like, look, okay, that might be the idea that you have, but as the notes say, you got to wait for a higher low before you trade a range setup. Just because the prices break back into the range doesn't mean you just automatically go long, because it could be a false break into it that leads to prices coming back down to the downside, which is exactly what we saw happen today. So you always want to make sure that you wait for that higher low, because then you have the confirmation that you're looking for. You don't want to just go long because prices broke a certain level. If they broke a certain level combined with something else that you're looking for, now you have multiple factors that can allow you to have more confidence and take that trade. But you always want to make sure you have multiple confluences before you get into the position. And that's what I learned from trade number one right here. And also, don't trade the pre-market because it's just not enough momentum. Now, if it was news coming out at 8:30, maybe this trade would have worked because it would have been more participants, but maybe it wouldn't have worked. But I just know that when it's more momentum, the market moves quickly, and I just trade better when the market is really moving quicker. So in the pre-market, you don't really experience that much. So it's better for me to just stay away from the pre-market. When the market opens at 9:30, it will be plenty of opportunity for me to capitalize on. So I don't have to try and force things in the pre-market if it's not the best thing that I'm looking for. So let's talk about trade number two. So at trade number two, I took the same entry as trade number one, but this time there was a higher low right there. So I went long as prices came back to retest the higher low, which was located towards the lows of the zone. Now notice how once we established this double bottom right here, we pushed back up to the lows of the range, formed a higher low. Anytime you form a higher low right directly below the lows of a range or below the lows of a zone, it increases the probabilities of the prices breaking back into that zone or range dramatically. So anytime I see that, I'm usually looking to go long, and that's pretty much the idea I had right here at trade two. So I went long right here and then just took it back up to the top of the range, the exact way that my trading plan says that I should. So I feel like I really did a good job on that one on trade number two. And I think the biggest difference between one and two is the fact that on two, look at how price action had already confirmed the trade that I was trying to take. We already had higher lows coming off of a double bottom, which was actually formed towards the lows of this entire downswing. So everything was lining up. I had all the confluences that I needed, and then boom, that's when the trade ended up working and being successful. So last but not least, let's talk about trade number three. So at three right here, prices were trading in the zone here. So I bought the lows and then I held this back up to the top of the zone. And when it comes to trading a zone or a range, that's exactly what I look for. If the trend is up, I'm only looking to trade the consolidation from the lows of it. So I'm only looking to go long. So that's exactly what I did. Prices came back. They retested the lows of the range. I went long right there and I took it back up to the top. I could have got greedy and tried to hold it all the way back up to these highs right here. But if you look at where I got out at, I got out at the exact, not the exact high, but maybe like 1 or 2 points away from the exact high of this entire upswing from the time that they hit the bottom of the zone back to when they were going back up to the top. All I did was look at the price action that was already printed on the chart, and that's where I put my exit. Now, before, like on other days, I would try and hold it and try and get more just to see the trade come all the way back down to break even. But this year, I'm doing things differently. I want to make sure that all of the trades that I see that I have good profits on, I capitalize on those trades. I take those trades, I lock in that profit, and then I just look for the next best trade after. I don't care if the move keeps running without me. I made the profit that I needed to, so I'm good. So I'm glad I was able to exercise that mentality on trade number three. And one of the biggest things that I want to work on this year is coming into the market, making a few good trades, and then getting out of there. And that's exactly what I was able to do today. Had a little mishap on trade number one, but then I came back on 2 and 3 and made really good decisions. When I saw that I was up and I was in profit for the day, I said, okay, it's time to stop. I walked away and I was done. So I would say overall, today was a pretty good day, man. I followed my trading plan the way that I should for the most part. Just got to remember to avoid the temptation to trade in the pre-market. This is the first day that I got my funded account back since I lost it in like late January. So I was really excited. I was like, ooh, man, I can't even wait till 9:30. But I got that out of my system. So tomorrow I should be good. I'm not trading in. Well, tomorrow is CPI, so I might trade pre-market, but only because it'll be momentum around. So that's the thing when it comes to trading in the pre-market. If it's momentum, yeah, go ahead. You got a news release, yeah, go ahead. You got big news that's not a news release, it's causing momentum and volatility, yeah, go ahead. But if it's a Monday, a random Monday in February, maybe you should avoid the pre-market trading. So that's the biggest lesson I learned today, and I hope you guys learned a lot too. I'll be back tomorrow on February 13th, ready to run it back again. But until then, you guys have a good one, study hard, and take it easy.